Hi everyone, welcome along. Today, 31st of December. Let's do a video for the last day of the year, shall we, of 2017. This one, the Combi boiler problem, and it's the one where you get the pressure keeps dropping. No matter how much you keep pushing into it through the filling loop, it might be a day, it may be a week, but you find that once again the boiler doesn't light, you get no heating, no water, and it's because the pressure has dropped away. So this invariably means you've got a leak somewhere. So what we're going to do about it, how can we fix it? Let's have a look at it. So there it is, the good old pressure gauge that says you've got trouble if that's dropped down to below a half a bar and the heat is not going anymore. Then you have to get on the old pressure filling loop there. This is this part here, open up the valves and fill it back up before the boiler will go again. So as I said, it means we've got a leak. First thing I like to look for is on all your Combi boilers there will be a thing called a pressure relief valve, and if that's leaking you'll easily know, because if you go outside and find the pipe on the same wall as your boiler, there'll be a dropped pipe there, and it will have water coming out the end of it. I'll show you where mine is. This is the pipe from the pressure relief valve from the boiler. It may be running down the wall or just poking through like that. It's a wet day today, so you wouldn't actually be able to tell if it was leaking or not. But obviously on a dry day you'd easily see water there under the pipe from the pressure relief valve. Obviously, you know, it's simple enough to find out and see if it is leaking. So today's a wet rainy day, so you wouldn't know a thing, but invariably, don't worry, you'd see any water there coming out of that. It might just be a little drip, but it would be enough to lower the pressure. So that's the first one to have a look at. Second place, I think most important where you will find leaks when you're trying to find this problem is on radiators. Now, here's a picture of a radiator there. This is one of my old ones. I've broken the valve top off because it's all seized up anyway. I'm going to fit a new top. But if you can see there, you can see a run mark. So look for these run marks down your pipe from the radiator valve. If you've got this, you've probably got a leak there. Now sometimes you can just put a spanner on this nut here and just give it a little half a turn and it will stop the leak. If not, then you've got to undo it completely and pack it with some PTFE tape. Now I've got a video on how to do that. It's very easy, and I'll give you a link now up so that if you want to see how to repack the gland, take the top off and do it properly, there is a link there for you. Here is the old thermostatic rad valve, and I'm afraid that if you have got a leak from one of these, the pin running down here, I'm afraid you cannot fix it. It will be a case of renewing the thermostatic rad valve. Do check that these joints aren't leaking here and here. And another popular joint that leaks is the one that goes in the radiator there itself. It screws into the radiator, and check there's no rust marks underneath the radiator. Sometimes you think you've got a leak on the nut and it can be actually a slight pinhole of rust in the bottom of the radiator, so that's another one to look for. And the very last one is the caps, which I'll show you next. If you've got caps on the tops of your radiators, have a look and you'll see that one did have a slight leak. You can see slightly rusty marks there, okay, but do check these can leak on these points as well. If we look at the other end of the radiator, come down here where we've got our valve in here, these also can leak out of the air screw, and it can leak out of the connection again that goes into the radiator. So do check those, very important that they are not leaking, because a lot of times on a radiator that is where you get the leak. Lastly, with radiators, some of these rads these days have got valves that are inset in the rad. That's the air screw valve there, and you can see it's been leaking at some time, but it's taken up. So if you do get this mark, you can find that you may need to renew that air screw if it's leaking. It's another one to look for. It can be hidden around the inside of a rad like that. Now the one for this panel, if you come back, 'cause it's a double panel, is actually on this side, so you can't see it. It's at the other end of the radiator, but here. So that's another one you need to actually look over and see whether that one is leaking. And obviously it's a bit of a job because it's against the wall. So get a small mirror like that and pop it down there and just see if the one that's this side is leaking at all. Check that, and also check the floor for any stains. Again, check the bottom of the radiators, especially the bottom. So go through every rad in the house. Every rad is a potential for a leak. Another one to look at for potential problems, the old drain valve. Somewhere on your heating system will be one of these, and they do potentially leak. They can drip out of there, and they can also obviously drip out of the valve itself, so inspect those. They can be a casualty in waiting, those things. I mean, as you can see on this rad, if you look round there, you can see this one has actually been leaking out of the joint where it goes into the radiator. You can see the brown rusty stain. Alright, so that's, you can see exactly what's going on if you really closely look, and you will find a lot of leaks are on radiators, believe me. What else can we do to check for this leak? Well, have a look at all your ceilings where there is radiators above and pipe work, because the pipe work's the one area you can't see if it's under the floor. So do check for any tiny stains on the ceiling that you might not have noticed, because that will be a leak from somewhere up under the floor. Also, obviously, all the visible bits of pipe that are connected with your central heating are visible. Do check every bit that you can see that is visible. Now, obviously, some of you have obviously got pipe work under the ground floor that it's impossible to get to, and it is virtually hopeless trying to think, especially if you've got a parquet floor or something and you've got to get all that up just to inspect pipes under the floor, which could have a leak anywhere. Now, this is one of the major problems, but luckily we do have help a hand with Fernox that has this F4 leak sealer. Now, this is highly recommended, it's great stuff. I've had good reports about it. I'll give you a link now for it to buy it from Amazon, and also I'll give you a link for the filling tube. It's called an easy fill that connects to your radiator, and it allows you to add the fluid easily into your Combi system. Okay, it's best to buy them both together, it makes life very easy. I think both items are there on the link, and I've also got a video on how to use the Easy Link if you're not sure, and connect it to a radiator and pour this stuff in. It's great stuff by all accounts. Alright, now that is the last hope one, in that you don't want to go digging floors up or anything else. This stuff usually does do the trick. Alright, so that's about it really. So, as it's the 31st of December 2017, last day of the year, have a happy new year everyone. Don't let your plumbing get you down. Don't forget, I've still got the site there with loads of other problems to be sorted there. Good old Durriton 33. Alright, go to the website if there's any other problems you've got. Everything is there, and you can always ask me if you've got a particular problem on the site there with the Ask Al tab. Okay, that's it. As I said, have a great new year. See you in the new year with lots more videos from me and Jan. Bye bye, and we'll see you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
See you in 2018.
Bye bye.